Welcome to Mommy Heal Thyself. We feature guests who provide you with the tools, resources, and strategies you need to say no to a life of pain and suffering from all forms of preventable disease, toxic drugs, and unnecessary surgeries. We hope to inspire you to boldly reclaim your ability to heal and to serve the ones you love.
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Mommy Heal Thyself. And today I'm here with one of my favorite people, Stanley Dietrich. And he is phenomenal. He's my go-to person whenever I have people that are in pain and I know it has to do with the body alignment. He is the person that I always connect them to. With his life's passion being fueled by the quest to help others annihilate the limiting beliefs and experiences that have been adopted so that they can fulfill their fullest lives. Stanley has immersed himself in coaching as a mastery. Now, seeing pain in the lives of those throughout his life, he became certified in the areas of life coaching and is also a Postural Alignment Specialist, a non-medical approach to becoming pain-free and guiding clients to live pain-free and design the lives of their dreams. Now, he believes that pain is the language within the body that alerts us that something is not in alignment. When it comes to physical pain, postural alignment is the cause. And there's no magic pill. Remember what I keep telling you guys, there is no magic pill, and masking it through medication does not change the composition of the body. Therefore, we have a choice to become the transformers of our experience. His purpose is to be the guide that helps you create this transformation. And the best part is this: you don't even have to leave your home. Yes. Now, he has two businesses that focus on the health of the brain, the body, the heart, the spirit. And he believes that the physical body is the visible expression of all four experiences. Now, Stanley is the proud papa son of two adult children and the grandpapa of two granddaughters that have brought an indescribable joy at this new stage of his life. If you would like to learn more about how you can become pain-free and the many benefits of postural alignment and transforming your physical experience, well, you are in the right place. So, Stanley the man, welcome, welcome, welcome.
Well, thank you, Michelle. I enjoy being here with you as well, and you're very kind in your introduction. So thank you very much for that. And how are you?
I am blessed as always. And, you know, I'm really excited because I want to learn more, or should I say, I want my wonderful, sassy ladies to learn more about what is the main problem that you help them to solve.
Well, one of the main problems that I help people and women, especially in postural alignment, is that, you know, one of the things that women have trouble with is losing weight around their hips. All right. And this is a constant problem. Now, why is that problem there? It's not just because they've had babies, but it's because the engagement of the pelvic girdle, the hips, has been deactivated because of the lack of movement. So if your hips are engaged, and one of the great ways to do this, and sometimes it gets beyond that at the beginning, is stairs. When we're using stairs, we're using multiple different muscles that engage the hips, the hip flexors, the knee, the back, all of these things, if we're not pulling on the handrail. And so when we engage the hips and we tilt them, so most people when they're sitting, and your listeners can just do a quick check, you find your lower back is rounded, your upper back is rounding, and your head is leaning forward. And then what happens is your shoulders rolled up, and then you get up because you've been doing your typing, or you've been doing your reading, or you've been doing the planning for various occasions. And sometimes when you're over the sink, you're doing the motherly, or you're doing the chores around the house, you're leaning over. And so you're doing the dishes and you're leaning over. They don't make an ergonomically made sink. Okay. It couldn't hold water. So How do we counter that? Is by being intentional with the engagement of all of our body parts, not just our feet or our seat. And so when we do that, then we can change the way that the fluids flow through the body, the way that the spine attaches, the lungs are right there in that rib cage. Okay. The lung lining, if the spine is out of alignment, then your breathing isn't very well. If your breathing isn't very well, you're not going to want to go for a walk. You're not going to want to do the stairs. You're going to want to take the elevator or the escalator. And so this is, the technologies have actually caused more dysfunctions. It's kind of like our smartphones. They've made us stupid. And, how many people really remember how many phone numbers when you were a kid? Like when I was a kid, we had this box attached to a wall, and it had this spirally curly Q cord that when we first got it, it was only like this long. But that sucker could go 32 feet around corners, around doors, wrapped around the staircase, down the steps, and then come back up again. And then by the time, the year went by, that cord was stretched. Well, this is what happens to our bodies. We get out of the original design, and we don't have that resilience or that resistance to come back. Mm-hmm. And when that happens, it's over a period of time. And so by engaging the hips, it makes all the difference, because your hips are the pivotal point for upper and lower extremities. Now, that was a lot of answer. I don't want to overwhelm anyone.
No, it's not overwhelming, because, now the challenge that I think I always find with some of my clients is that they don't really make the connection between this being the problem. So what are some of the typical symptoms that people may be experiencing that they may not even realize is connected to postural alignment?
Okay, so a shortness of breath. Okay, so when your spine is curved, your shoulders are rounded, now you're compressing your rib cage, and it can actually reduce the amount of oxygen, the lung capacity, by up to 30% and sometimes more. So if you find yourself wheezing, okay, or shallow breathing, you're not really breathing, you're just existing. You're not living. And so it is diaphragmatic breathing by taking a deep breath, and not north and south, okay, not just filling your chest upward. It is filling the chest outward. So it's east and west breathing. So it's belly breathing. If you watch a baby breathe, or a puppy, and they lay down, what are they breathing with? Their belly rises. So a quick test is to check and lay down on the floor, put your feet up over a chair, and put a book on your belly, down below your rib cage. If that book is not moving up and down with your breath, you're just existing. You're like a battery that has just enough to make the thing work, but not optimal. So that's one indication. So brain fog. Okay, so what happens is when our spine is also curved and our shoulders are rounded, your brainstem goes along your spine. If your spine is out of alignment, now your brainstem is also compensating. And the nerves, you actually have a couple nerves that run through your upper spinal vertebrae. There's two nerves that run up and through there. If people crack their neck all the time, well, they're really impinging on those two nerves. And what happens is that it's been shown that can actually produce a stroke, because it crystallizes in those two nerves, or those two nerves, veins. Okay, so you've got blood vessels, capillaries that run all throughout. And if you have if you have inflammation or if you have restriction of blood flow, guess what happens to your brain? It's not getting the right blood flow. Now, as a brain health coach and studying that, I know that if you get a brain scan, not an MRI, not an EEG, but an actual brain scan, and it shows the actual blood flow to the brain, you'll be surprised unpleasantly what a poor posture can do to the brain. So if you don't have proper brain flow, then you're not getting oxygen because there's oxygen carried in the blood. And if you don't have oxygenation going on to your prefrontal cortex, that's what makes all your decisions. If you're dehydrated with blood or oxygen or actual water hydration, now you're causing the body to go into a sympathetic response. That's fight or flight, like survival. And this is why I talk about breathing, is if you're just surviving, you're not thriving, and then you're going to have other areas, and you're going to be more fatigued at the end of the day. Your energy is going to be zapped. The little things of, either your grandchildren or your children or your adult children come over to visit you and they annoy the hell out of you. Okay, let's just say it like it is. If we get triggered quickly and we go, wow, why did I respond that way? It's because my brain is overstressed, and what it does is the pain of the brain shows up in the body. So if I'm stressed here, it can show up as a tight neck, a tight nerve, or you get that knot below your shoulder blade. And you go, oh, I just need that rubbed out, and if we don't have anybody, we just go beside a door and we just start rubbing that shoulder blade and we work that knot out. But it's a pre-indication that there's a greater cause. And what we're trying to do is address the symptom. And so what I want to help, especially women, because they're the nurturers of our society. Okay. I will not be politically correct here. If you don't have a woman, you don't have children. Okay. And I'm just going to say it like that.
Exactly.
And the idea is, our moms and women influencers take a lot of stress, and they carry a lot of worry. Well, that worry now shows up in a shoulder, or it shows up in their lower back, and they sit down and they try to process. But if their body's not in position, it's like having a kink in a hose. You've got the water pressure there, but if there's a kink, it can't deliver to the nozzle. And this is what happens in the body. And so for your women listeners, one of the greatest things that you can do is get up and get those hips activated. And, you can do simple things like dance to your favorite song. If you're worried that the neighbors are going to look, pull the drapes. Okay. Get the hips moving and tilt the pelvic. Okay. And rock and roll that pelvic. Okay. Because what it's doing is it's also engaging your hip flexors. Okay. And then the psoas muscle, which is actually the largest muscle in the body, runs from one leg, runs through the hip joint, attaches to the lower spine, and then comes back through. It's the only muscle that runs through a joint in the body. So if we're moving that psoas muscle, now we're engaging. And if we're engaging the hip, we're engaging the shoulders. Okay. So that is, I know that kind of sounded funny and I didn't intend it. And if you ask me to repeat,
it's starting to sound X-rated. They may take us off of YouTube because I don't know. Look, ladies, your husbands will be very happy to hear about what Stanley is talking about, because that's all that came to my mind.
Well, that's not where I was going, but
sure, Stanley, sure you weren't. Yeah, whatever.
But if that works, okay, so if you get your spine in alignment, everything else comes together even better. Okay, so our activities, our walking, our ability to have cognitive strength, our focus is going to be better. If our alignment is better, we're going to have better breathing. We're also going to be able to change the lymphatic system. Lymphatic system is the thing that prevents us from getting disease and dis-ease. And, you know, if we activate the body, we become the physicians to heal ourselves. And we don't need a pill, and we don't need, you know, we don't need to go to somebody to tell us what's wrong.
Okay.
So when I get this education and I use it, education by itself is, knowledge is not power. It's the application of the knowledge. Okay. So you only need to know one thing to make a major difference in your life. And that is get your hip in the proper positioning. Okay. And, you know, one of the things that I learned early on is that, and this came from an Asian woman who was a postural specialist. And she said, Asian women have difficulties getting pregnant. It's because their pelvic is misaligned. It's tilted the wrong direction. If you change the position of the pelvic, now the ovaries, all of the women organs, okay, are in a better position to now receive. And to receive then is, and so it, you know, when you understand that there's a deeper aspect, and we're not going X-rated here, but it is understanding, having that power that our pelvic position adjusts our spine. Right. So if our pelvic is tilted, our lower back is going to hurt, and we'll have sciatic, and then we'll have that pain that runs down our leg. And rather than chase a symptom and say, well, you got a spine that is compressed. Mm-hmm. Why is it compressed? Well, you're old. Oh, really? How come the other lady is my age and she doesn't have compression in her? Mm-hmm. Well, just genetics, you know, your genetics. All of these excuses to get you to take a pill. Here's the pill that I want to give you. You take care of your body and you have much, much better health.
So now, what is one of the common mistakes that women make when they're trying to address these issues related to posture? What do you find people are doing when they come to you sometimes that's incorrect?
Well, it can be women, but this goes for everybody, is when you think that you don't have the power, when you are not in control, and when you give your power to, and I'm not against the medical association by any means. Please don't interpret what I'm saying. But I think that too many people give too much power to the medical industry, and we think that they know more about us than we do, but they only get their information about us by what we give them. So when they say, I'm going to check the boxes, tell me what's happened. They didn't ask, did you just get into a fight with your kids? Did you just get into a fight with your spouse? Did you have a loss in the family? Did you get into an argument with somebody on the road? And all these things, and they go in and the doctor says, well, sounds like you got anxiety. You know what? That will explain all the pain that I have. Give me a pill. We take home the pill box and we feel better because it's masking the origination of the stress that now resides in the physical body because we haven't listened to it. And so now it shows up and says, I'm not going away until you address this. Okay. You have got to quit the job that is driving you crazy. Okay. Because that's what's causing you stress, but it pays the bills, but it's wrecking your health.
Killing.
Make the decision. So that is one thing that I could tell women. Laugh more. Laugh like it's nobody's business. Okay. Find something funny, not what's on the sitcom or Netflix, because that's a minimal laugh. Get something that just really is a gut belly laugh. And dance around. You know, I have clients that I'll say, you know, nobody's home. Just turn on your favorite song and do a dance.
Yeah.
And they come back and they have a different energy. Now, when you have a different energy, you feel like going for a walk. You feel like going downstairs. You feel like, you know what, this was so much fun. I think I'm going to go back downstairs. I don't even need anything down there. I'm just going to do this again. And it begins this engagement of the body functioning the way it was designed. Now, if you say, Stan, I got bad knees and I can't do stairs. Well, we can correct that. You're not stuck with the body that you have. Change the things you do, and the things you do will change.
So now, when I listen to you, I'm really curious as to what is the one concept or book or program or person that has been most impactful in creating who you are, where you are at this point in time, and what you do?
Probably the most influential person early on was a principal when I was in the second grade. And I obviously had ADHD, like to the 4 squared. And he said, enroll this kid in every activity at the YMCA. And he bought me a 2-year membership. Okay. Now, why do I say that that was the most influential? Because he saw my gift and he didn't try to suppress it. So it planted a seed that has forever outlived him. His name was Mr. Wrigley. And he saw something in me that he didn't want to just push me in the back corner. And what he did was he paid it forward for me. And as I began to understand that if we try to suppress, or if we try to take someone's differences and say that they're defective, okay, whether it's pain, whether it's the way that we think, whether it's our spiritual walk, or whether it's our social environment, we have the opportunity to change that and to use that strength that we've been given. And as I saw his investment in me, that became my desire to invest in others at an early age. I said, there's got to be a better way. And growing up the way that I did, I grew up poor. And I've shared this and I've joked about it, but I would say that, you know, we were so poor that the termites had to hold hands so that the building didn't fall over. And, you know, it's kind of funny, but it was kind of true, because if you saw what the environment that I was in, it wasn't conducive for, you know, a young mind being formed. But I said, there's got to be a better way. And I began to notice, I began to seek out the pain that I saw in other people. And whether it's thinking, or whether it's their nutrition, or whether it was their social environment, or whether it was their body position. My mom was in pain constantly, and I learned how to get back rubs at an early age. And by the time I was in high school, listen, who was the cheerleader's favorite guy, right? Because I could give a back rub like nobody's business.
Right.
And you know, you master this, but you also understand there's an underlying element, is that stress and feeling like you're broken when you're not creates greater dysfunctions and greater compensations. So that was the most influential. Beyond that, spiritual leaders like T.D. Jakes helped me to see things in a different way. T.D. Jakes was a mentor that was not up and close, but he's a storyteller. Yeah. And storytellers change the world. And he brought the Bible alive for me. And, you know, if you go real deep spiritually, the Bible has been the most influential aspect of my life, because as I read the Bible, I mean, this is a continual process. People are constantly in pain. People are constantly feeling less than. And this hasn't changed with all the technology that we've had. A pill is not going to change the way that you feel, not in a healthy way. And I'm saying that if you take your power back, you could probably get off half of the pills that you take.
So now, what is one valuable free resource that you can direct us to that will help us further with this particular problem?
You know, as I think about that, I'd love to point them to one particular podcast or one particular influential leader, but I would do an injustice to all the others that have influenced me. And so, you know, this isn't a plug for book an appointment with me, but it is your audience if they want to really book a call and discover just a little bit more of how this could personally affect and create a life without limitations. And there's a 30-minute call and they can put in the code, you know, Dr. Michelle or MHT, Mommy Heal Thyself. They can put anything of your liking in that. And I'll know that they're from, and I'll make sure that they are, you know, that you're given the credit for. Yeah. And that, you know, I want to honor your audience and honor you because the level of care that you display and give to your people, those that find themselves in your company, they are forever changed. And there should be more and more. And I don't use should as a word that I really love, but they should. And they owe it to themselves to do that. And I know one of your philosophies is that you have a moral obligation to bring this information to people, and I 100% validate that. I feel the same way. I have a moral obligation to help people eliminate pain and eliminate it forever, not just a week or a day or just through, you know, Christmas or the holiday or the family get together, because that can sometimes bring it on. But it is, how can I have the highest quality of life? And this is why you say, you know, Mommy Heal Thyself. You have the power. I'm the guide. And let me show you some of the things that have worked and are transferable.
Yeah. So now, what is one question that I should have asked you that would help women to create lives filled with power and passion and prosperity and peace?
You know, the only thing that maybe we could really go down a real rabbit hole is what you put in your mouth that goes into your stomach also affects what goes on in your brain and in your blood and in, you know, the way that your body processes. So, you know, what is something that I can do throughout the day that is very simple? Have a glass of water handy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if you are so inclined, limit the amount that you drink from a plastic bottle. Okay. So, you know, you can do the right things, but not get the right effects. And a simple thing of getting the right water, the right source, and knowing what's in that water that can really produce for our bodies. That's, you know, hydration is key.
Yes. I really appreciate the fact that you have emphasized the age-old truth of simplicity. Simplicity is the key. And that is why I always encourage people to work with other professionals such as yourself, because it could be one simple little thing that you didn't even consider that makes all the difference. You know, who would have thought that your posture is connected to snapping at the kids. Who would have thought? Something as simple as that. You know, when we think back to our ancestors, we think back to the old guard that would always say, hey, sit up straight, watch your posture, you know, and we're like, oh, those fuddy-duddies, they don't know anything. And yet, as simple as that, it can make all the difference.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, Stanley, for sharing this time with us and for giving us these beautiful reminders of the importance of the simple things in life and the importance of our postural health and alignment.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Yes.
Thank you for tuning in for this episode of Mommy Heal Thyself. If you like what we're doing here, please share, subscribe, like us, and leave a comment.